When I was a junior in high school, I had to make an emergency trip to the bathroom. My stomach was absolutely wrecked. I'm talking full-on stomach bug. I was speed walking through the hallway, trying not to embarrass myself, when I heard this strange whistling sound echoing from the other end. As I got closer, I realized the whistling was coming from the boys' bathroom. I didn't think much of it at first. Honestly, I was more annoyed than anything. I really wanted the bathroom to myself because I was about to destroy that toilet. I rushed into a stall and did my business, painfully aware that someone else was still in there. The entire time, whistling, humming, non-stop. I must have been in that stall for close to 10 minutes. Whoever the guy was had clearly been there before me and showed no sign of leaving. I figured he was probably a school janitor, but still, I wanted privacy. It was uncomfortable. When I finally finished, I walked out to wash my hands, keeping my head down, avoiding eye contact out of pure embarrassment. I was already stressing about getting back to class on time. That's when everything went wrong. The man suddenly started walking toward me. He stopped less than a foot away. He was so close, I could feel his breath on my face. A cold tingle ran up the back of my neck. I had no choice but to look up. "What the hell, man?" I said. He stared at me with a completely blank expression, then slowly formed the most disturbing smile I've ever seen. I left immediately and went straight back to class, my heart racing. I texted my friend Noah about it, and his response made my stomach drop. He told me he'd had the exact same experience with that guy. After school that day, Noah, our friend Lucas, and I decided to walk to a diner we liked. We took the wooded trail behind the school like we usually did. While walking, we started talking about the creepy janitor again. That's when Lucas froze. "Guys, isn't that him?" Up ahead on the trail stood the same man. We all knew it was him. Lucas whispered that we should turn around, but Noah and I kept walking, hoping he'd ignore us. As we passed him, he stopped and stared, then called out to us, "Hey, you guys want to hang out?" That's when panic set in. We ignored him and picked up our pace. Then he started jogging toward us. We ran. Behind us, he started screaming, and when I looked back, I saw something glinting in his hand. A knife. We sprinted for what felt like forever, screaming for help, until we finally lost him. The next day, our parents went with us to the school and police. That's when we learned the truth. He wasn't a janitor. He was a convicted sex offender who had been pretending to work at the school. He wasn't even allowed to be near minors. That still haunts me. I was in 10th grade when it happened. It was lunchtime, and my friends and I were doing what we always did, eating for 5 minutes and goofing off the rest. Halfway through lunch, the PA system came on. "This is an emergency lockdown. This is not a drill." The principal's voice sounded panicked. That alone told me something was wrong. Here was where I made the dumbest decision of my life. When the lights went out, my friends thought it would be funny to sneak out of the cafeteria into the hallway. For reasons I still don't understand, I followed them. Eventually, we split up. It was just me and my friend Ethan now. The hallways were almost pitch black. The only light came from cloudy daylight filtering through the windows. Then, 3 gunshots. Screaming followed immediately. Ethan and I ran. We bolted out the front of the school. then cut behind the building and sprinted across the soccer field into the woods. Sirens grew louder. We hid, terrified that we'd be mistaken for suspects. Eventually, police found us during a sweep and detained us until the real shooter was caught. Turns out, the kid didn't even go to our school. Nobody was hurt, but I learned that day how fast things can go from normal to horrifying.
This happened on my very last day of high school. It was supposed to be one of those days you remember forever, the finish line. No more classes, no more homework, no more walking those same halls every morning. I should have been excited, but I wasn't. Things at home had been bad for a while, and that morning it all just hit me at once. I went to school already exhausted, already angry, already done. Fifth hour was biology, and I couldn't bring myself to go. My biology teacher, Mr. Reynolds, was notorious. He screamed at students, humiliated people in front of the class, and once even threatened a kid so badly that half the room went silent. Somehow, he still worked there. I knew if I went to his class that day, I'd snap. So I skipped it. I walked to the library, keeping my head down, heart pounding in case a hall monitor spotted me. When I got there, it was oddly empty. No students, no teachers, just rows of computers and shelves humming quietly. I hid in the back by the computer cubicles, pretending to do schoolwork while really just scrolling on my phone, waiting for the period to end. That's when the intercom came on. "This is an emergency lockdown. Please follow lockdown procedures immediately." At first, I wasn't too alarmed. Our school did drills all the time. Usually the principal would warn us ahead of time, but I brushed it off anyway. Then I heard screaming. It was muffled, echoing down the hallway outside the library. Panicked, desperate, not drill-type screaming. That's when my stomach dropped. The lights went out. I slid off the chair and crawled under the computer desk, pressing myself as flat to the floor as I could. I remember thinking how stupid the hiding spot was, how exposed I probably was. But fear doesn't let you think straight. Minutes passed. Every sound felt amplified. The hum of the building, my own breathing, my heart in my ears. I checked my phone and saw over 20 messages from classmates asking where I was. "We're in a real lockdown. Someone has a gun. Are you safe?" I realized something even worse. I was alone. No teachers, no students, just me, hiding. Then I heard footsteps running down the hallway. They stopped right outside the library. The door creaked open. I watched from beneath the desk as a shadow stepped inside. Tall, about my height. The door closed behind them with a soft click that felt deafening in the silence. A flashlight snapped on. The beam moved slowly across the floor, across the bookshelves, across the computer rows. I held my breath. The light swept closer. I could see shoes now, then legs. Then it stopped, right in front of my desk. I knew it was over. If I stayed hidden, they'd find me anyway, and if they thought I was hiding for a reason, I was dead. So I did the only thing I could think of. I stood up. "Hey," I said, my voice shaking. In an instant, the flashlight was in my face, and a gun was pointed straight at me. My brain froze. Then my eyes focused, and I recognized him. "Ryan?" I said. He was an old friend from middle school. We'd drifted apart over the years, but I knew that face anywhere. His hands were shaking so badly the gun rattled. For a moment, he just stared at me. Then he collapsed. He dropped to the floor, sobbing, and let the gun slip from his hands. I kicked it away without even thinking and backed up, hands raised, talking to him slowly. "It's okay. You don't have to do this. Just breathe. You're not alone." He kept crying harder than I've ever seen anyone cry. He kept saying he didn't know what else to do. Eventually, he agreed to walk with me to find a teacher. We moved slowly, carefully, until we found one hiding in a classroom. The police arrived shortly after. Ryan turned himself in. Later, I was told something that still messes with me. The police said I might have been the only person in the school he wouldn't have hurt if he had found anyone else in that library. I don't like thinking about how differently that day could have ended. It was my last day of high school, and it still follows me to this day.